smart city IoT architecture. And here we'll try to see the importance of smart city, and we will also try to analyze the need and the urge for the smart city, how it has been incorporated with the real-time applications. So first and foremost thing, when we just hear the word called as a smart city, there are a lot of factors which will make the city to be smarter. Probably if I am just taking an transportation, I just take an functionality called as maybe an IT sector. I just take a functionality which is involved with the water and sewerage board. There could be an public transport. There could be even an electricity which is involved. There are so many functional aspects which relates to this term called as a smarter city. So from all the corner, we are just going to give one system through which people, the normal people would operate in such a way, it is something like they would be able to operate at the tip of their fingers. So that entire visualization I can just have in my mind, and that's the scenario what I call it as a smarter city. So now to make the city to be smarter, taking an advantage of IoT infrastructure, we will be seeing the architecture. What should be the architecture for which region I am trying to make it as a smarter, and what could be my minimal functionality which could be given to the system. And to address that, we can just see I have taken a diagram through which I will be able to represent the components which are observed with a smarter city. Now, what you're observing from this screen is something like it's been divided into a lot of layers, and the layers which I call it with an architecture is the service layer. There is one more layer called as a data center layer. There is a city layer. There is a street layer. So here, the service layer in turn should be able to provide the system or provide the people who are working or using this service layer a kind of a dashboard or a kind of an application interface which should allow them to have an effective communication to be established for the parking. So when I say the parking, automatically a transportation comes into mind, and I should have all those routines which will determine the management issues related to the parking. Similarly, I can have with the service layer one more module called as a lighting management. It comes to the light energy sources through which we are trying to provide the system with all those electricity supply. And there should be a third component in the same service layer, which I call it as a safety and a security. It's all the critical measures which is observed with this safety and a security. A kind of an alarming system needs to be handled, and it should be put up with this safety and a security management functions. Then there is one more service layer which is determined for a traffic management. And here, this traffic management can occur with an streamed data, or it could come with an actual static data. And the system should be built in such a way if the data which is coming from both the sources should be analyzed, should be identified, and also it should have a management functionalities which describes the need for a service layer. Then we have got a second type of a layer, what I call it as a data center layer. And this data center layer has a lot of components, and each one we are going to have a discussion done today. There is a third layer which I call it as a city layer, which would be able to operate all those distributions accommodated for a particular region or for a particular lane. Similarly, there is one more layer which I observe in this architecture called as an street layer. And the street layer should provide the system with all those integration of a smart lights and a multi-sensing flowed data content which would be just observed in the lane. And we also have the devices which gets connected to the street layer. And that is all about your architecture. On the other hand, you can see when we have a lot of functionalities and we have a lot of key components along with the devices which are connected to this architecture, what would be the necessary models which will provide the delivery of these services which are distributed or scattered across the layers? Now I have got three different delivery models which is described in the smart city, and that's called as an on-site cloud, a partner cloud, and a private cloud. And making use of these clouds, the data which is scattered could be stored at the necessary places. And it's up to the implementer to just make a choice for the type of a delivery model for its application. Now we have got one more model which would be integrated with this private cloud, something what I call it as a generic or a public. And here we can note whenever there are smarter devices which are integrated to the system, there should be an urban kind of a service which relates to this system for having all those governments model towards the implementation of the particular city. And to handle these type of a layered approach, people have opted in this case study the products, the services, and the partnerships which will be occurred with an organization called as Cisco. Moving to the next concept, we will try to dig what exactly is a functionality for each and every layer which is found in the system. I repeat again, a smart city IoT infrastructure is a four-layered architecture, and this four-layered architecture provides all those data movements from the devices at the street layer to the city network layer, and it connects to the necessary data center layer where the data would be aggregated, the data would be normalized, and the data also would be virtualized. And here, a smart city IoT infrastructure also has the data center which provides the kind of information to the services which are underlying. And this services in turn provides the necessary functionality to the IoT devices. And here in the smarter cities, there are multiple services which could be used for offering the various types of protocols and having the various types of application interfaces for the particular devices. And in that regard, we observed with this architecture, we have got a clear-cut distinction about four layers identified as service layer, identified as data center layer, a city layer, a street layer. Now, the street layer is composed of devices and sensors which collects the data, and it will in turn take a proper decision or an action based on the instructions given from the devices and the sensors. And this street layer also would be interconnected with the networking components to aggregate and to collect the necessary data. And this street layer in turn has the ICT connectivity solutions which relies on the sensors to collect the data from the world around them so that it could be analyzed and used to do all those operations as an use cases for the cities. And the street layer again has a sensor which acts as a primary data source aimed at generating the data which is required to understand the physical world. And the sensor devices are always able to detect and measure the events which relates to the physical world. Now, the street layer for this case study, I can just tell it will have the involvement of a lot of sensors which are used at the street layer for taking the representations. And the various representations here could be a magnetic sensor. And you people could ask me what's the role of this magnetic sensor and why essentially it should be able to have the magnetic sensor in this layer. Simple answer there could be a magnetic sensor aims at detecting a parking event by analyzing all those changes adapted to the surrounding environment circle. And the magnetic sensor would also have the heavy metal object such as the car or a truck if it is coming near to the proximity, or is it, it's coming closer to an object, the sensing action should detect and it should give there is a danger or there is a flaw with the system, and they should take an appropriate measures. Then there is one more functionality which I call it as a representation, and that's nothing but a lighting controller. And here the lighting controller can diminish or it can brighten a light based on a combination of time based or ambient based conditions. And here a lighting controller would be able to just determine the activities involved with all those light related functionalities. We have the third representations coming from the cameras. And with the street layer, it's quite obvious the vehicles will be passing and there would be some objects which is moving across the lane. And to capture all these actions, whether it's a human, whether it's an animal, or whether it is an actual vehicle, there should be an involvement of a video cameras. And this video cameras should be combined with the necessary underlying video tools and a surveillance systems to detect the vehicles, to detect the faces, to detect the objects, and to take an efficient analytics involved with the system. And also, this video cameras should be having an important functionality called as just changing the traffic conditions, and it should also convey to the appropriate stakeholders about the security measurements which could be observed from the cameras. Now we have the fourth representation as the air quality sensor. And here the role of this air quality sensor is to detect and measure any of the gaseous components which is occurring in the system. And particularly when the concentrations of these gaseous components are about to the taken threshold level, then we can just alert the particular street there is going to be a pollution in your area. And that's the importance of air quality sensor. Then I can also see a device counter, and this device counter provides an estimation about the number of devices which is being used in the particular area or a region, and it also provides a rough sketch of the number of vehicles which is making a movement in that street and which is parked in a street, and whether the parking is done in a right place or is it done in a parking area itself, which is public, or there is a pedestrians who are walking or doing a sidewalk, or probably there could be a birds which is sitting in the public parks or a public monuments. And these are all the actions which generally the device should be able to identify, trigger, and an appropriate counter could be adopted for each and every object which is involved with the system. Now, the city layer. The main functionality of a city layer is something just like I can say I have an aggregation of data, and this data aggregation definitely would be considered or collected from the sensors, and there is an end node network which binds to a single transport network. And here, the city layer may appear to be a simple transport layer which comes in between the edge devices and the data center or an internet. And now, the city layer, which is found in the system, would be operated with the network routers, the switches, and it also would be deployed to the areas which matches to the size of the city data. And this city layer, in turn, has one primary key consideration that it needs to transport multiple type of protocols. It needs to make use of multiple types of IoT applications, and most of the applications which I am relating there refers as delay and jitter sensitive information, and some of the other applications which are involved in the system requires us to have a deterministic approach towards the frame delivery. And the city layer also would be able to generate an alarm or a result in an invalid status report. And as a result, the city layer must also be built around the fact called as packet coming from a sensor or a gateway would always be forwarded successfully to the head end stations. And the city layer again has the importance which is observed with cameras, which is taking the role of the switches, and there are some LANs which are connected. To make you people understand with a better way, I just have taken a diagram here, and here what you are making an observation from the diagram is there is a clear-cut distinction between these two type of layers. You can see here there is an edge port, there is an aggregation switch, there is an actual segments which is involved with an edge ports, and there is a core switch which is binding the aggregation devices, and there is an actual segment which is connected with the help of an LAN, and there are a lot of generation communication channels which is taken here as 2G, then it is 10G and so on. And we have a data transfer rate also which could be observed. So here we can see there is a data aggregation switch. There is a communication channel which is established between the data aggregation switch to that of a LAN which is found in the system. That's about your street layer. Moving down with your layer, we have got an industrial switch. We have got a mesh AP, and there are certain surveillance which is connected to the system. So getting back, the city layer primary consideration is the need to transport multiple types of protocols, multiple types of IoT related smaller applications. And some of the applications which could be related there comes from a delay and jitter, comes from a deterministic approach of frame delivery. City layer again has at least two paths which could be existent from any aggregation switch to the data center layer, and a commonly used Ethernet protocol goes with a name called as REP. And here REP is abbreviated as Resilient Ethernet Protocol. Moving to the third type of a layer, which may come with a data center layer. It's the need for the data center layer is to have an active collection of the data which is sent by the devices, the data which would be stored at the data center, and the data which needs to be processed and correlated with an already existing key components. And based on the processing of the data, there should be some kind of meaningful information or the trends which could be derived from the system. For example, if I'm just saying we are having an application in a data center which will provide a global view of a city traffic and primarily helps the authorities to decide what is that need for having more or less commonly used transport vehicle. And at the same time, an automated response needs to be generated. I just repeat again, the case study or an example which we can take up for this understanding of a data center layer is I should be able to generate an application which should provide the view of a city traffic, meaning to say, I just have taken Bangalore as a region, and for that Bangalore region, I would like to just determine from a written application what's that city traffic is right now today, and what is that I need to just take a decision whether the transport or vehicles has to be increased or it has to be reduced or it should be made as a stabilized one. And to take a appropriate decision, the authority should be given with an application. Through an application, they should be able to take up a quicker decision, and the authority would work with an smarter devices. They would definitely work with an automations, and making use of this analytics, they would be able to take a decision about the increasal of a transportation or not by having a newer vehicles introduced. And now the other functionality of a data center layer is involvement of the cloud storage. And as the data size increases with a larger extent, definitely it should have an inclusion of a cloud. And the cloud model provides a means of delivering a storage, a means of virtualization, a means of adaptation, and this cloud model should provide the users with an analytics of how the governments require the technological changes, how the government should act upon the involvement of a lot of softwares to make the city to be smarter. And the city networks simply cannot keep up with the real-time data. It always needs to be added with an extra layer called as limitations. Maybe I can just tell I have developed a smarter city implementation, and I would like to state like if there is a newer devices which are added to an existing system, the system should not collapse. It should be able to carry its work even though I am just having extra versions being added up. And that is what I call as a need for physical limitations. And beyond the scope or beyond the functional specification, if I am just adding extra functionality, it should not take its values. And that's what we mean to say by this point number 2. There is one more functionality, what a cloud will be just conveying to the data analytics software, and that's nothing but taking the server farms with a larger involvement and extensible processing capabilities. Now, moving with an next discussion, we can observe the actual data center layer, and this data center layer having an utilization of a cloud platform to provide us smarter solutions to the city. So here the cloud provides a scalable, a secure, a reliable data processing engines which would be able to handle all those larger amount of data passing across or using it from the system. So here we could note from this diagram there are a lot of factors involved with an intelligence. There is an cloud, and this cloud is providing a lot of services to the key components. My first key component which I relate here is factory optimization. From the factory optimization, I also have one more component called as traffic flow optimization. The third optimization which I relate here is home energy management. There is a fourth component referred as communication network optimization. There is one more component called as hospital optimization. There is an involvement of smart grid. There is an involvement of municipal command and control center. There is an involvement of responsive store. Now you may ask me a question, why do I require these key components and what really am I trying to achieve from these components? It's all about the intelligence which you are providing to the existing general or a traditional means of storing the data. Now, I just take up the first component called as factory optimization. What I can do towards this factory optimization, and how can I make a factory to operate with an intelligence is a very interesting and an important question. To make you people understand for this fact of factory optimization, let me just take an example. The factory is beginning its work, maybe you just take it at 8 o'clock morning, and it is winding its services or work probably in the night 9 o'clock. Between the morning 8 o'clock to the 9 o'clock, understand there are certain transportation which is given to an employees. Maybe there are some buses or the trucks what the factory would be using in the system, and there should be an intelligent service where whenever the trucks or whenever the buses are entering into a factory, automatically the entry point should be registered with a register, and there should be some devices through which the driver should operate the timings of their entry and exit from the factory. Also, there should be video cameras which are added into the system, and it will tell the route number 1 or route number 2 is coming at this time slot and it has exited from the factory at this time. And this all information, whether it's a static way or is it a dynamic way of operations, would be managed and would be recorded at some place. And that place I call it as an cloud, and the cloud is the placeholder for managing these type of activities. And there should be some logistics which should provide the optimizations towards the trucks or buses being operated into the system. And this logistics should provide all those necessary information to the programmers to take up the optimization standards. Meaning to say, the truck could be used for multiple purposes and the bus should be used for multiple purposes, which is beginning at 8 o'clock and it is ending the time at 9 o'clock in the night. And during this span, how effectively I am using the truck should be monitored, should be registered, and it should also be provided with other actual reduction with the cost factor. So that is all about. I can just tell as one simple example towards factory automation and factory optimizations. Now I have got with the second component called as home energy management. And what is that I observe within home energy management? It is a kind of services the home basically provides in terms of its electricity. Maybe there are some 10 or 15 houses which are connected and which is making use of all the smarter appliances in their home. And the home may use car, the home may use refrigerations, it can use washing machines, it can use all the devices which connects in the form of televisions and so on. There are a lot of factors what an home can have an involvement and possible places which we observe when I relate an home. And all those energy related services should be optimized and it should be automated so that we are not having a wastage of actual energy source called as electricity. And to take these type of actions and to provide the services, there is an urge or a need for an home energy management functionalities. And the system through which I act upon, I can just relate it as an automated card system as an example towards this diagram. Now, there is one more component which could be observed with the smart city called as communication network optimization. What it has gone to do with this communication network optimization is very simple. I just take my vehicle on an highway, and when I'm just passing across an highway, it should give me certain proper singages or the boards stating you are moving in this particular direction. You have taken a right path, and please just take 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers to reach your destination. Exactly how it is being operated with an Ola or a Uber cab. How they are having a directions is by enabling a GPS, and they are having a location which would be tracked by the customers as well. And to provide these type of services on an highway in terms of boards, in terms of singages showing the direction or a path, I can provide a system called as an intelligent highway which will direct the transport vehicles to take an appropriate signals to just move to an appropriate paths. Now, moving further, I do also have an hospital optimization as one component. And what we have got to do with this hospital optimization is just have a generation of an intelligent hospital through which the intelligent hospital should be able to give an appropriate services to the users, and it should also provide appropriate services to the storage locations, and it should connect the patient with an ambulance, it should connect the patient with a doctor, it should connect the patient with a caretaker. These are the important services what I just look as an example with the hospital optimization. And there is an necessary medical devices and an connected ambulances, connected people who are associated with this key component. Now I have with the other major component called as smarter grids acting as an important role to control the municipal control under controller center. So, without the involvement of a government or an authorities with a smarter city, the entire key functionalities which we have described now will not have any meaning or service. And to adopt this meaningful approach, there should be an involvement of municipal authorities. And we are going to just say the municipal authorities how the city would be made smarter. Example, I can just take it as a bin. We generally have a wastage which is passed to the sewerage boards, and if you are observing on a day-to-day basis, there are a lot of waste which is accumulated across the city, and this waste would be just controlled or picked from people who come daily to near to our home. If I just provide a system automatically, there should be a robot or there should be some kind of a device which will just take this wastages which is occurring on a day-to-day base, and that is being placed at a proper place that would serve a majority of an lacunas which we find in an general public. And to make this system happen, definitely there should be an involvement of municipal authorities, and there should be some controlling mechanism through which I can see the data cropping on a day-to-day basis. And to make the entire system to be adopted in this manner, I should have a solution to provide to the system capable enough of answering the factors called as security, the factor called as scalable, the factor called as reliable, whenever the data gets processed at an appropriate engines, and the data could be able to handle with an huge amount of values being passed towards it. And we have got a service layer. I'll just halt at this point of time. I'll take the discussion of service layer in the next class. Just stay connected.